Hi there, this is Ronnie here, and I'm going to try and attempt to do something that I've rarely ever done, which is attempt to make a recipe video for you. So I'm just trying to see what I've got in the picture here. Okay, you can see me, I'm back here, got a little microphone on and everything, so hopefully this works out. So this is a really common recipe a lot of people have been doing recently, raw vegan recipe. It is called, it's got various names, people call it Kentucky Fried Cauliflower, cauliflower bites, some people have a barbecue version, all the rest of it, but the essential part of this is taking cauliflower florets like this, I don't know if that, get it closer to the camera, and coating it with a sauce, dehydrating it a bit, and you'll really be impressed by the flavour of it. It really can be very delicious, and in a weird way it can sort of mimic the flavours that people get from things like chicken McNuggets or things like that. And remember, these are all processed foods anyway, so it's not really reminding us of eating meat in a sense, it's reminding us of the texture of processed food again. I don't know. It's really simple to make. Your first step, you want to cut your cauliflower up into these little florets, as we call them. So you can either just take the cauliflower like this, and as you can see naturally, you can just pull it off into bunches, into sections like that. Nice and easy. But then you probably want to cut off these stalks. Some people like these stalks as it's something to hold on to when they're eating. I prefer to cut the stalks off. So as you can see, just breaking it up by the hand. If it's a bit of a harder cauliflower, you can break it up with a knife, just cut it off. I tend to cut these stalks off, and I like to break it up into kind of that size or smaller. I don't really like big clumps like that, I don't think it works that well. So I'll try and break these up, and relatively easy, we've got a few here prepared. Okay, just cut off that stalk there. Very good. Very nice. Okay. Excellent. Cut off one more stalk. Okay. Now the next important part of this is the sauce we're going to use, and we'll blend this up ourselves. This is a Vitamix blender, but you can use other types of blender. And it's going to be a very simple sauce. It's only a couple of ingredients, and you can experiment on your own with what you want. Tomatoes are the basis of the sauce. You can chop up some tomatoes. It's important if you're doing like a sauce or a smoothie, to put in things that are water rich like tomatoes first, so that the blender can work better really. So we'll cut these tomatoes up, we'll put these in, maybe put 5 in for the sauce. We'll see, maybe that's too much, maybe it's not enough. We'll be making more of this anyway, so we can make a pretty generous amount of sauce. So just for this small section of it, maybe we need a bit more tomatoes, but we'll put 5 in at the moment. Also going to put in a pepper, not the full thing, but I'll chop up some pepper. You could put in, some people like to put onions in. So a lot of people don't like onions, raw onions anyway, so they don't have onions. Some people would recommend, I've heard people recommend no celery. That celery isn't a good idea for this particular sauce, because it really needs to be a coating sauce. It needs to coat this. So I'm trying to make sure you can see me in this, but yeah, pepper would be nice flavour in this. And people will put in various different types of herbs and spices. That's your own choice. If you don't like herbs and spices, if you're trying to stay completely hygiene related, natural hygiene, meaning, well, hygienic, meaning like no herbs, no spices, no salt, no oil. I don't add any salt or oil to this. That's your own choice. I'm going to put some chili powder. Just nothing special about this, just some hot chili powder, and just a generous amount really. And then not the secret ingredient, but the thing that really makes the sauce stick on is this will be tahini. Tahini is kind of a controversial thing sometimes because it's very high in fat. It's definitely not something you want to have all the time, every meal. But it can make things taste very nice, so people can end up adding it maybe too much to their sauces, vegetable dishes and things like that. And it's not a great idea to be adding tahini all the time, I've found. I don't think it's great, but for the odd occasion, the odd meal, it can be a nice change. So you really need to put enough for it to kind of be a thick consistency. So you're putting quite a lot of tahini in. So maybe I'll put this much in, which is quite a lot really. Now, a lot of people say tahini isn't raw. This is marketed at least as organic, raw, light tahini, produce of Cornwall. It's called Carley's of Cornwall. I'm not a distributor of Carley's of Cornwall or related to them in any way, but they're making raw tahini, so you can get that if you like, if you're worried about it being classed as raw. Okay, so we'll try blending this up. We'll see what the consistency is. Probably still hear me. It looks like it'll be too watery. It really needs a lot more tahini for it to thicken up. Okay. So there's maybe more sauce than I thought, but if you put your finger in, you see it's kind of still a lot of peppery taste to it. Now I'm going to add a whole clump more of tahini in. Once again, you know, this is taking it into a higher fat territory, but it's that's the way this recipe works. Okay, this is maybe a little better. Okay. So, what we want to do is we'll pour some of that out. It should be quite thick by this stage. This maybe even isn't even thick enough. It kind of depends on the type of tahini you get. But tahini adds a real sort of earthy flavour. Tahini is just hemp. I believe it's hemp seeds, or is it sesame seeds blended up? Quite common in the Middle East, not so common here. So what you want to do is just dip in, and you want to cover it like that. And then you place it facing upwards on your dehydrator tray. Okay, let's do another one. And we just keep on doing this process until we've covered the tray. Just dipping them in. And this is the great thing about this recipe is it only takes maybe 2 hours in the dehydrator. I would say 2 hours, 3 hours maybe, to get a great effect. Some people would put it in longer. It really depends, but for me, I can put it in 2 hours or even less. And to be honest, you could eat it raw like this. You could eat it just biting into the cauliflower. It's really, really tasty just as that. So if you don't have the patience, you can just do it raw. It's quite a nice raw recipe actually. I guess it's still raw. It's the dehydrator, but it's like borderline raw, or dehydrator / raw, if that's a different thing. So we just continually do that until you've filled up a full tray. Then you put it in the Vitamix. Now, the Vitamix settings, where would I put it? I would say, the thing with the Vitamix is it takes a while for it to warm up, so you can always put it up to the highest setting for the start, and then after a couple of hours you would take it down. But as you're only putting it in for a couple of hours, you can put it up to the highest level, or you can put it in at 100 and it'll just take longer. And the idea is that it's kind of going to, the outside of it's almost going to become a little crispy, like a batter, like the way that fried chicken or whatever has a batter. I know it's weird to talk about that, but there you go. Okay, so as you see, just lining these up. I like to keep these florets of cauliflower kind of small. I don't like them to be too large. You can tell that this is maybe a little bit watery still. So it depends on the type. This particular type of tahini is maybe not quite suited for this recipe because I've already put in quite a lot, and it's still not the kind of sticky consistency that we're looking for. You could also put in maybe dates to your recipe, add a bit of sweetness to it. But there you go. So what I'll do, I'll finish that off. I'll add more on, and we'll put them in the dehydrator for a couple of hours, come back, and I'll show you the results, hopefully in the next clip. So I'm just going to come over. I must admit, it's not the best batter I've made. Not the best. But it will depend on your ingredients, as with all cooking, especially with raw. Depends on the quality of your ingredients. So if the quality of your ingredients aren't exceptional, then you know, what can you do? Anyway, we'll put this in the dehydrator. We'll come back in a couple of hours and I'll show you how it turns out. I'll just show you up. I'll just show you a bit closer. Here's where I'm at. Here's where they are. Okay, coated all over. Could be a bit thicker, and I hope that you'll be able to replicate that and get a good consistency for the sauce. Really important to get a nice thick consistency so it really sticks on. Okay, we'll be back in a bit. So this is a couple of hours later. I'm going to have a look. Put it somewhere in the middle. I usually find that shelf to works better, the second shelf. So they look a bit like this now. And as you can see, the coating's kind of dried a bit. I could probably leave it a little bit longer, but we'll try a taste test. See if you can. Yeah, so a really nice flavour. Could probably be better if we left it a couple of hours. Or another hour or so. But a really nice, easy, simple, very relatively quick recipe. I think you'll be impressed by it. Go and try it out. Only a few ingredients. Try it out and let me know what you think below. And let me know if you've got an improvement to that recipe below. Maybe you want to put it in the comments. Maybe a few people want to share their ideas. Probably got some food in my beard here. And yeah. If you're interested in learning more about this raw food type lifestyle, you can visit fruitfest.co.uk, the website. There'll be a link down below. I've got a few books on Amazon and things like that. So check that out and subscribe to this channel for more videos. Thank you.